Yeah, so we're rolling. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna do the introduction right now. So happy to have you here, bro. It's the Honesty Podcast again, and today in English again for my audience. And I'm very thankful that you're here, that you're listening to me, listening to what I have to say today. And today I have a very special guest. I have Jack with me. Jack is
Hey,
a real good friend of mine, but he's a very successful online salesperson too. So I wanted to get him here on a call with me and to just see what he has to say and see if we can learn something off of him because I think he's a very wise person for his age. He even taught me some very good things in the area of mindset. So yeah, thank you very much, Jack, and yeah,
yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, bro. It's my first ever podcast, so I
lovely.
couldn't find a better way to pop the cherry, man. So
Great, bro. It's lovely.
I'm absolutely excited for this, and yeah, thank you for such a kind introduction, bro.
Perfect.
Let's run it.
Let's go. So I have some questions for you today, and we're just gonna see if yeah, if this can be like some good content for the people. And yeah, so we did the introduction. Yeah, and I told the people that you're in online sales, but maybe you can just go into a little bit deeper in whatever you do and what is
Mm,
your like day-to-day life. So how do you
yeah,
structure your day? I mean this is a very important thing. So yeah.
sure. Yeah. Does this podcast have video to it as well,
Yes,
or is it just
absolutely.
it does? Okay, cool. So how I structure, well, what I actually do on a day-to-day basis is I typically would close on like 2 or 3 offers. So I'd consult for free, basically. But now as I start to develop in skill set, I need to only work for like one, maximum two, because I start getting them mixed up. And so if I'm speaking about Callum, for example, I'll start to bring in another influencer that's not even relevant. And I'm like, I don't know. And then it's just cringe on the call. So
Got it.
I've nailed it down to one, just purely working with Callum now,
Very good.
the person that we met through. And really how I structure my day, I'll show you something, right? Like on my towels on the radiator, but here isn't my whiteboard, right? And this is my routine that I worked out. So this is Monday to Sunday, training for a marathon at the moment. So I'm
Nice.
alternating. Yeah, yeah. It's
Good.
not going very well. I've got like a couple injuries and stuff,
Oh
but
no. Got it.
yeah, but that's really how I structure. I make sure that in the morning,
Hmm.
the most important thing for me is to set the morning with exercise,
Hmm.
like absolute, like pushing physical limitations, whether it's like weights, cardio, and then sauna, sweat out some broke thoughts, just literally like get it all out. And then I feel super refreshed for the day. So if that's all I do in the morning, I genuinely don't care about anything else.
Got it.
I could give less of a fuck. As long as that's done, like to me, my day will go perfectly.
I understand.
If it's not done, then it's like my whole life just feels like it falls apart,
Yeah.
basically, the day's just nowhere near the same. So I always like to get the like high frequency stuff done in the morning
Hmm.
to then make sure I can make enough money in the afternoon to actually be like, yeah, put in enough work, you know?
What do you think about the people that say that the morning is the most creative time of the day? Like I get this a lot that people tell me
Mm.
like they do creative stuff in the morning, like marketing and stuff. So what is your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's very subjective. People always like to say like this is the best time for this or this is the best time for this,
Hmm.
but everyone is extremely different. For me, I'm the most impressionable in the morning, and what I mean by that is the most like, you know, for example, if someone wakes you up in the morning and like you're just hella mad because you're like, motherfucker, I was having a good sleep. You woke me up and it's like 5 a.m. or something, right?
Hmm.
Then like I'm very impressionable. So what I do in the mornings is I listen to like podcasts, specifically a lot with like Alex Hermosi at the moment.
Hmm.
Listening to that when I'm like just woken up is very good for me to just soak it in and be like, oh, cool. Like so much new
Got it.
perception, fresh ideas, fresh reframes. He's obviously a super smart guy as well, so a lot of knowledge I'll soak in, right?
Yeah.
The most creative times for me is from like 10 p.m. to about 3 a.m. That's
Mm.
normally where I get like the sickest creative flow going, and then by the end of 3 a.m. I'm like, fuck, I gotta be up in like 5 hours. So
Yeah.
six and two threes, brother, really.
Very interesting. Very
What
interesting.
about you?
Yeah, I think so too. Like in the evening, I'm way more productive and creative. In the morning, I'm like, I'm still working, so
Mm.
on the job, I'm just, getting it through, and it's it's a routine. Like in my case, I'm waking up about 2 hours before I start working. So in those
Mm.
2 hours, I'm praying, I'm working out, I'm just doing like little stretching stuff, not too
Mm.
heavy like you. And what I like to do is read and write in the morning. Like this is the
Mm.
only time that I really have time for reading and writing, and
Mm.
that's why I'm waking up so early. And yes, I think this is my routine that I'm going like for 3 months now, and it's going pretty well. So yeah, man, it's okay. It's cool, and I can start working like very energetic. I don't even have to drink coffee sometimes. Like coffee is like always yeah, I have to have my coffee before working. But with me, I'm just if I'm fasting, I'm fasting. I don't have to do anything. I just work.
Mm.
So yeah, this is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, man, to be honest with you, like the craziest thing is that through the most successful times that I've had in my life, like I haven't really ever had a routine. It's kind
Yeah,
of fucked.
what
It's it's so weird. Like I used to
special?
think and have this belief that you need a routine in order to succeed, but you just don't.
Mm-hmm.
And what I started to realize was that it's not the routine that makes you successful, it's the perception of the routine.
Got it.
You can do anything in the morning, whether you read, write, journal, ice bath, whether you go and do 500 push-ups outside and it's raining. It's like if you see that as like, okay, this is going to help me be successful during the day,
Mm. Yeah,
then the outcome you'll get off that is going to be like, okay, cool, like that makes me feel successful.
100%.
So the routine is irrelevant. It's actually like it goes one layer deeper, right? It's like your perception of the routine. That's what I
Perception of
started.
everything. Got it.
And I was like, fuck, I don't. So I started just doing ice baths and stuff like a while ago. And that
Mm.
really helped with getting the hard thing done first. A concept called eating a frog. Have you heard of that
Yeah,
before?
absolutely, absolutely. So this is
So yeah.
eating the frog is I think yeah, I lost that perception a while ago from the frog because everything I
Mm.
do is just programmed now. I don't have to get myself to, or like I have to motivate myself, or like when I hear eating the frog is like you don't really want to do it, but you do it. And in my
Mm.
case, it's just I'm not even thinking about doing or not doing. It's just doing. And it's not
Mm.
even okay. Am I going to do it or not? It's like it's gonna be done. So I don't have
Mm.
even have to think about it. So I think I lost it in the process of like routining and always eating the frog. I
Mm.
think one time you just lose it, and then it's just yeah, it's just a thing. So it's just
Mm.
like eating. Working out is just like eating and
Mm.
everything. So yeah.
That's so true. And I
Mhm.
really like that actually. Because the more you train that muscle, there's actually a part of your brain. I can't
Yeah.
remember what it.
Uh,
David Goggins got the
he
largest one
talks a
in the
lot
world.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that must be what happens because it's the same when I go to the gym, I'm not like, oh fuck, gotta go lift weights. I'm like,
100%.
yeah, fuck. Like I'm going to the gym, like see you
Absolutely.
later. I'll miss everything to go hit some weights, right? And
Do
so
yeah.
exactly like I can
Do
relate to you on
you
the level.
do you listen to music when you work out?
No, not anymore.
You know.
I invested into these headphones, right? They're not like crazy headphones, like
Yeah.
£200
Mm.
maybe. But then like noise cancellation ones, and I thought I was speaking to my girlfriend about actually, and I was like, do you know what? Like, I don't even listen to music in the gym anyway. There's no point me buying this.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And she was like, well, no, just do it. Like, just treat yourself. And I was like, all right, fine. Like, I'll just do it.
And
I'll
now
do
you,
it. 'Cause
you you don't use them.
now I'm just now I'm just listening to
Ah,
like podcasts and
podcast. Yeah.
audiobooks in the gym. Yeah, and I'm just now I can hear no because the gym plays shit music
Bro,
all the time.
I'm the guy
It's
who
for real.
listens to that music, bro, all the time. Like, but I don't really listen. I don't. I don't have no headphones. I always used to have AirPods, and I lost them 2 times. I bought them
Mm.
and then lost them again. And then I was just like, okay, like music is it's not motivating me. It's like just distraction, I think, in the gym for me. And then when
Yeah.
I get there, I'm just like no headphones, but just pure focus. And I don't
Mm.
know, bro. Sometimes I just zoom out. I think everybody has this, or just zone out. Like I'm
Mm.
just out of my mind in this kind
Mm.
of type of way, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
working out, lifting weights, and then I'm done. And the time went. I didn't even
Mm.
realize what really happened. I just went to the next exercise. It's crazy.
it happens. You just get into a flow state with it,
Yeah,
and like
absolutely.
I agree. Music just really overstimulates my brain, and so like when I start to, because I don't really like dive into like any really instant gratification
Mm,
activity or anything like that. So that when I do listen to music, I start to think like I just want to listen to next song, next song, next song, and I just get hooked. Whereas when I take the step away
hmm.
and I don't listen to music and I have something a little bit more chilled, like a podcast or an audio book, it means that I can soak up knowledge. And what I always try to do is reflect the knowledge that I soak up into business. How can this be transferable? How can this bit of
So
knowledge be
good.
applied?
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I've really found to help
Do you do
me.
this with every podcast you listen to, or like just typical business podcasts, or like
I
mindset
mean,
podcasts? And do they have like something?
you'd be surprised how many how many podcasts without anything to do with mindset actually have like how you can take from it and apply
Mm,
it. So it's like if you just go into it again with like the perception of like I'm trying to get this out of it, like you'll look for
yeah,
opportunities to take from it, you know?
you take them from it.
Yeah,
Ah, okay, got it,
absolutely.
got it, got it. Absolutely, that's cool.
So yeah.
I have a question
Well,
written down, if you don't mind.
yeah, go ahead, bro.
Always from the beginning, yeah, we got introduced to each other. I was like, I know him like this, but how was he before? You know, like how was Jack 1.0? Because the title of this episode is 2.0 version. So what was
Mm.
1.0 version of yourself like? Like so.
Yeah, that's a great question. Without getting you banned off Spotify, like I was just complete like reprobate degenerate kid, like literally going out partying, doing all of the most wild stuff, like staying up for 3 days in a row, just getting like really, really fucked up with my
Hmm.
friends. And I went through a time in college where I I was like kind of in between like trying to find a way to make money, like not necessarily with the best intentions, if that makes
Got
sense.
it.
And then there was like the other side where I could have like gone down like working on a building site and stuff. And so I was caught between these two things.
Hmm.
And what ended up happening was I started to just get like fall in love with this girl who basically had a boyfriend. She was 2 years older than me. I was 16, she was 18. Her boyfriend was like 24 or something
No.
like that, right? He had a full-time job at BMW. I was just a little 16-year-old skinny kid, weighed 52 kilos, and like on the fence of drug addicts, basically, right? And
Crazy.
when I was 16, someone hit me in the head with a baseball bat and
No.
split my head open. Yeah. And so that changed a lot for me. That really made me understand. Like, it took me a while to heal from it. Like,
Hmm.
physically, it was like 6 weeks or whatever, but internally, it really, really fucked me up because I was like, I realized how much it affected my family,
Hmm.
what type of, it really put the spotlight on who I was as a person, and I was evidently not happy with that person. So,
Got it.
as I reached like the age of like 21, and I just decided like enough is enough. And then I started like getting into sales and corporate sales. And so it all transpired. I started getting into shape when I was like 18, 19, started lifting weights, pumping weights, getting into better shape than I was before. And I was still drinking and partying and stuff, but I was dedicated to the gym. That was like my one little area that was like
Hmm.
self love, if you like, right?
Hmm.
And the more that I progressed, the more I started to realize how much more value I can offer to the world through the trauma and the like incidents that I'd been through as a kid. And I was
Got
like,
it.
shit, okay. So that was like the highlight of the 1.0 was really just like halfway to like a drug addict, basically, like not really had a lot of potential, but never really gave himself direction, never took any step, just
Hmm.
kind of walked sideways in life, like a lot of people do. I still see a lot of my friends now. Well, no, my friends are good people, but more people that I went to school with and college with, I see those types of people still just sideways for the whole thing.
Hmm.
So
Got it.
that's where it is at for me. What about you, brother? Like, what was the 1.0 version of you?
It's very interesting that you mentioned your injury that you had because I think we have like some common things or in common things that we went through. Like in your case, it was the bat on your head. In my
Yeah.
case, it was a fist on the chin, and I got my
Yeah.
jaw broken like in both
Wow.
sides. So it
Oh.
was yeah, it was this was 2020, 2021,
Mm.
and
Shit.
when I think about it or think back, I always see that person before the broken jaw, because I think this is the time where it switched everything. So was like the moment where I don't know. I believe everything switched up in my head,
Mm.
and everything before was like just typical Swiss guy, um, doing his apprenticeship and
Mm.
just working and going to school and not really having big goals. I did like some kind of online business stuff with like this network marketing firm, which is
Yeah.
now a big legal case, and it's crazy. Yeah, it's always these cases with these pyramid scheme things. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know at that time that it was, but I learned afterwards when I left. There was just like some pyramid scheme, and I met. But what I did was I had like very good people that I talked to, and they were like so mindset driven and everything. And I did very good friends. I met very good friends there. And when I left there, I got my jaw broken, left from this online business stuff, and then I was
Mm.
just gone like for 6 months because I didn't eat like for 2 months in because of the I was swollen like a hamster, bro. It was crazy. I'm
Really?
gonna show you some pictures. It's crazy, bro. Like or on Instagram I have some videos,
Mm.
and yeah. So from that moment on, it was like it was a switch up in me because when I was laying in bed in this hospital, it wasn't as bad when I was alone, but my mother came and she stayed with me, 2 nights in a row.
Mm.
And I always get like these goosebumps when I think about these moments because when I was laying there, bro, I was looking at her and she was like asleep on a couch, and I was you just laying there, bro, and it was my fault that not only she was like so worried about me, but that she has to do all of this stuff to see all this stuff with her kid. And I think from then on, it was just a different mindset, bro. I was like differently connected to God at the one
Mm.
point, and then like in one direction, and the other direction, I was so connected with my thoughts, always thinking, because at time I couldn't even talk, so I was just with myself all the time because you couldn't even get it out, I was like, because my mouth
Mm.
was just, numb.
Wow.
So yeah, this I think this is the moment where just 1.0 died and this
Mm.
and 2.0 just started rising, and then from then on it was just change. I changed my job. I quit my old
Mm.
job that I had. I was working shifts, like night shifts and
Yeah.
everything. Quit that, went all into IT and software development. Started the job as a software developer, bro. And imagine working as a shift worker in some kind of big company which
Yeah.
you have no value to. Like you could die tomorrow and they would just change you up. To getting into
Mm.
a startup and working from home, and it's just a different kind of level, bro. My it was such a funny story because I started this job. This was my first office job, and my boss, he knew this, but he always forgot. So he
Mm.
had like this one moment where he said, "Yeah, we can talk about it in a meeting. Just send me like a appointment on Outlook, like the appointment, the same as I
Yeah.
sent it you today."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do that." And I was like half an hour. I was looking for that. How
Yeah.
the fuck do I set an appointment? And then it came into mind to him, like he was like, "Oh fuck, you never did this," and then he had to show me everything. So this is
Mm.
the way I dabbled into everything. And then when I started getting into this, and in my head it was my dream life,
Mm.
everything started developing again. It was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope it's not like a sickness because this can be very very
Mm.
negative when you have something very good and you always want more. But in this moment and in that moment, I was like very happy, but it kind of started creeping up on me, like this feeling of, hey, you can even do more, and then you can do
Mm.
more. And that's why I started working out. Then I gained like 15 kilos in 2 months, and
Nice.
then I just went all in because I lost like about 8 kilos because of the
Mm.
injury,
Ah,
just
fuck. I
because
see.
I couldn't eat. So it was
Yeah.
just all in, going all in everything, working out, learning in the school, and working in the new job and everything. And yeah, so this is like the moment where 2.0 started, and now it's still going. Like it's crazy.
That's such a beautiful thing, man. And like the one thing that I really recognize and that I preach is that like mission or like whatever bad has happened to you, like so many people see that as
Mm,
like the reason why you shouldn't be successful. Actually, it is like 100% the reason why you should be successful.
absolutely.
It's about your like if you really identify it for what it is, right? It's like is your relationship with that situation. You seeing your mum on that sofa.
Mm,
Maybe if she wasn't there, you might not have thought that deeply about like, oh, you
absolutely.
know, what is this? What am I doing? What path am I on? But because you saw her and that's a direct like emotional impact on who you are as a man, you're like, fuck, I have to change. And so
Absolutely.
certain things arrive in certain places for specific reasons, right? It's like synchronicity of the world.
Absolutely. I think this
And
is,
the more,
yeah.
go on, go
I
on.
think this is way bigger than us, you know, like all this stuff that is happening. Uh,
Mm,
Especially in that moment, I was like, this is 100% not just me, but this is
mm,
a message, or this is like some kind of, yeah, message to me, and just a
mm,
clarification, like, buddy, you're not doing good. You're
mm.
going on a bad path. And to just clarify, it was a basketball match, so it was still not like some
Oh,
kind
really?
of, I was fighting somebody, but it was a
Mm.
basketball match. And yeah, everything went sideways after the match. So yeah, this is my story.
Damn, it wasn't even like a, it wasn't, I thought you were thinking it's like a street fight and
Nah,
someone
nah,
would
nah. I was
punch
never
you.
this that kind of type.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
crazy.
bro.
It's crazy.
Basketball just got out of control. Wow.
Absolutely.
That's so interesting. Yeah, and you know the most interesting thing is that I saw the guy who done this to
Mm.
me when I was 16, like
Yeah.
about a week ago. I
Oh,
saw
you
him.
saw him a week ago?
Yeah, I
No
saw
way.
him a week ago. He was just eating some food with this girl, and I was just sat down drinking a coffee and like journaling, and I looked up and I clocked that they were both there, and I was like halfway through, like if you imagine this my coffee, I looked up and I was like, oh fuck, like that's actually him. And I experienced every single emotion that I experienced as a 16-year-old kid.
Crazy.
Like the anger, the frustration, the fear, the anxiety, everything. And I wrote in the journal, like, I was writing about like belief systems in my journal. And I thought, the thing that I believe is that I shouldn't be angry because he's the reason why, or he's played a huge pivotal moment into my life as to why I've actually been successful. So if anything, I should actually go and thank him
Mm.
rather than want to go and smack him in the face. Do
Mm.
you know what I mean? So that's kind of like the simple reframe I gave myself, and that's like where I thought of the relationship that you actually develop with the situation.
Very, very special. Yeah,
In
absolutely. How long did you not see him since the incident? For how long?
um, since maybe 4 years.
So you never saw him after that incident?
I saw him once in McDonald's, yeah.
Crazy.
But like since he just basically we just like locked eyes and then a few like words were said, but I was super drunk and like
Got it.
nothing was gonna
Nothing.
happen. But then since then nothing, yeah. Obviously I've been traveling a lot, didn't really
Mm.
spend any months in the UK last year. So that ruled out last year. And then I was just in the grind for a while. I was just training, eating, wasn't really going out partying too
Mm-hmm.
much. But yeah, so I didn't really see him too often. So yeah,
Yeah, in my case, it was like I didn't even know who he was because he came like from behind and then he just
no way.
ran away. And I was so filled with adrenaline,
Yeah.
and I was like, didn't even look at him. So I just got punched. I was
Mm,
focused on the other guy, and then everything got solved. I even go to the guy that I was, fighting, or I was just,
mm,
we just had like a discussion. I just went to him and then told him like, sorry for the discussion, and like, you're a good player. Let's do a one on
mm,
one. Like, cool. And we were very cool after that. But like 10 minutes after the incident, after I got punched, I started realizing what really happened. I
yeah.
even I even went for a dunk, bro. Like, I was like this. The adrenaline was like so going crazy in myself.
Mm,
Once I started calming down, I just noticed my chin. Before I had like a very long chin.
mm,
I just noticed that when I put my teeth together, they were just like going like on the side of each other. It was just like moving everything. And that's when
yeah.
I got the stress and I realized, hey, I got punched very hard in the face. Went to the, locker room, saw my
Mm,
face. My chin was like this was here. And then I was just going crazy. Went to the hospital, and like 1.5 months later, uh, I found him. I talked to him. He didn't know write me back. I talked to the guy who I had the incident with, and he told me like, yeah, we have to solve this. Then I went to the police. Everything was getting solved the legal way. Like we didn't want to
Mm,
do something dumb. And then the first time I ever saw him was when we went to the lawyer, like to the
mm,
secretary lawyer in the state. And yeah, then this is the first time I really saw him face to face. And the same as in your case, bro, I was just like feeling all the emotions I felt in the hospital room, bro.
mm.
And I swear I was a young guy, like it was 4 years, 5 years ago. So it was like 17, 18, 18 years old. And
Wow.
bro, I swear I teared up, bro. Like I didn't know what to do. There was a lawyer there. So either way, I couldn't even do anything,
Yeah,
physical. So I
of
just had
course.
to do it emotionally. And so I teared
Mm,
up, bro. And I was just like, yeah, I was fucked. And I told the lawyer too. I was talking to her like this. I don't do this with like adults talking like this, but I was just to her. I talked to her. I was like, I'm fucked. I'm just down. I don't know what to do and everything.
mm.
And yeah,
Damn,
so it's crazy
that's
incident.
wild.
hmm
Would you say that that's the biggest part of development that you've had throughout your life, like that
Bro,
one situation?
this and many little things that happened in my childhood, like that
Yeah,
changed me with parents at home, with family, and incidents that happened in school. Like these people,
yeah.
I think many times I'm thinking about, my kids in the future and how I'm gonna raise them.
Hmm.
And sometimes I think about, private schooling or homeschooling
Yeah,
or whatever because I just
yeah.
like it. And at the other side, I'm always thinking about my time that I had in school and all the things I witnessed and, started learning from. And so I have always these second thoughts on homeschooling and everything,
Mm. Yeah. Okay. I like the idea of homeschooling. I think it's a good idea.
hmm
Only because the school, especially in the UK, the whole school system is just completely
Yeah,
fucked.
it's sad.
Um,
It's sad.
yeah. My question, bro, is like with you in that position, like what did it actually take from you, like internally? What did it take from you internally to put yourself through the transition? Through that point of development where you had your broken jaw,
Hmm.
you saw your mum, you spent, fucking 45 days in hospital without even eating. Like, how did you actually get through that?
Going through was like very, very good connection with God, bro. Like I
Mm,
think this was very pivotal for me.
mm,
And I think the second one was like, there was like some kind of dog in me, And I think he was called up on, like
mm,
come here and wake up, You're not that little puppy anymore. Like you can't be anymore. So I think from there on, this kind of mindset that I have from with just when I'm doing something, I just have to do it. I think from then on it started, and then yeah, everything just went on going, gym and all that stuff. So I think
that's
that dog
awesome.
was really called upon, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. I really like that.
hmm
I think it takes a certain type of like push to
And
really
pain,
bring
yeah.
yourself out.
hmm
Yeah, like you have to really embrace it. Some people bury it.
hmm
Maybe I've done slightly too. I don't know, but I thought that I was over it, and like, and I don't really think about it that much. But
hmm
like the craziest thing is that like these thoughts just start to pop into your mind just randomly, don't they? And you think like, where is your brain at
Yeah.
to do shit like this? And so the way that I identify it is that like if somebody else had a situation where they'd had like something in the past that they like went down the victim route of like why me, then they
Yeah.
realize that it's actually like a message to be like no, like this is not to you to hurt you, this is to you to like be like bro, wake the fuck up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because when you hit rock bottom and you look, the only thing that you can actually do is look up and realize like how much you're missing out on, right? And being like
So true.
instinctively like you have FOMO.
Mm.
You just think, oh, I don't want to be missing out on like this whole climb
Mm.
all the
To
way
the
to the
top.
top.
Yes, man. Very good said,
100.
bro. Very well said. I have this question written down. It's about three things that you would have done differently if you could have started over with your whole journey in the in your
Mm,
space, like.
yeah. Um, I mean, difficult question. I believe that like everything happens at the
Mm-hmm.
right time.
Got it.
But to give you like an answer, start my personal brand earlier, so that now it would be in a completely different position.
Mm-hmm.
like document the journey basically is
Mm,
what I always same with like fitness and like getting in shape. I always wish that I'd document the journey, but I'm always inconsistent with documenting it.
absolutely.
Due to like I don't know, lack of work rate, being lazy with it. There's areas of my life that I'm so consistent with, and then there's other areas of my life where I'm just nowhere near as consistent as I need to be.
Absolutely understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's because I have a lot more interest in certain things than other things, and so I start to put the things that I'm less interested in to the back and just focus on like I fucking love like closing psychology. I love understanding it also. I focus on that.
Mm.
And like that. So personal brand is one of them. Number two, I spoke about this in a recent reel, but the the Instagram, the company that I was working at was a life insurance broker in the UK.
Mm.
Now, I was one of the like top salespeople on their team, basically. I was closing at around like 85% to like 90%.
Wow.
It sounds good, but the benchmark was 83%, or maybe it was 85. I don't know. That was the benchmark anyway for to be on that team.
Hmm.
And so it was a very good team to be on. And I was like the new kid on the block who come in and crushed it without bigging myself up to be like
Yeah, yeah,
top
100%.
basically. Like what happened was my sales manager was just a dickhead, bro. Like
Mm.
every day just comes in and just trying to violate you from like literally you walk into the office at like 8:45 a.m. He's just on it straight away, and I'm just like I'm a pretty like I can be quite an angry person internally sometimes, you know.
Hmm.
I'm just like, bro, like shut the fuck up. So eventually it just got too much. Handed in my notice, told him in the team meeting, I was like, look, bro, like I'm done. I'm done with this shit. And so they said, if I work 4 weeks of my notice, I'll stay in my job. Sorry, I'll get the commission, not stay in my job. If I work 4 weeks of my notice, I'll get the £1,000 commission or something. I worked the 4 weeks, didn't turn up for the last day of those 4 weeks.
No way.
Yeah, and they fucking they didn't pay me it.
Didn't pay it.
So the one thing I kind of wish I did differently was just leave because they needed me more than I
Yeah,
needed
yeah.
them.
100%.
Just leave them as soon as I handed in my notice because I knew that they weren't going to pay me it anyway.
Mm.
So that's two things. I think a third thing would just to find the style of like that I have now sooner.
Sooner.
Um, but again, I believe it all happened at the right time because I went through like really good phases, really bad phases, like
Hmm.
average phases, and so this found me at like the perfect time, I think.
I understand.
What about you? Like, how would you describe like the three stages that you had changed since you started like doing all of your AI agency?
Yeah, when it comes to the AI stuff, I would think, yeah, like be more open with it. Like
Mm,
I'm still doing it very closely and like not too open about it. And I don't know really why. Like I
mm,
think I think I want to be out there, but at the same time, I just want to be a little bit with myself. I think it's this freelancer kind of style of living, you know?
mm,
You want to let people come to you and not go to them.
mm,
And I think it's not a right approach, especially when it comes to these kind of service-based businesses. And yeah, I think this is the first thing, and this second thing would be documenting, as you said, because when I
mm,
look back now, I documented a lot, but way, it's still not enough. So documentation and yeah, learning more, bro. Like I was always going into stuff, trying to learn it in the process, and then when I fucked up, I was like, fuck, I should have looked at it way longer. So
yeah.
I think putting more time into learning the development side and all that stuff.
Mm.
So yeah,
Okay. I
yeah, man.
guess you're right. Like, there is the element of like keeping it to yourself. The one thing that somebody told me once is like, do you want to be a freelancer or do you want to be a CEO?
Mhm,
And so, because those two businesses have different approaches, because you have one where you're just like a kind of hired gunman, basically,
mhm,
you go around and do the jobs that, and just pick off the fucking stray. Then you have the CEO who's like basically the mercenary. He just goes out and does whatever he wants, speaks to people, gets the job done, and goes and outreaches and like creates an empire rather than just like builds a house, you
mhm.
know?
100%. Honestly, I
So,
think I think getting to that mindset is like a journey itself.
Mm,
But you really have to want it at the end of the day. I think if you're really not, like, because I know somebody, he's a developer, and he always told me he wants to be a freelancer in the future. So
mm,
I think he will never have even a chance because he limits himself so much. He will never have a
mm,
really chance to be like this CEO mercenary, as you said.
mm. Sometimes it's not about what you want, and that's what I realized, because there's not a lot in life that I really want apart from, like, the basic things, like
Mm.
treating my family. Just like, obviously I want to build like a full empire and I have a vision to do that. But what I'm more empowered from is what I don't want.
Yes,
And I think I don't want that life. I don't
got
want
it.
to turn up at the office every day. And the more sometimes what you focus when you focus on what you don't want as a life, it can actually drive you
100%.
so much further than just focusing on like the want, basically, you know?
Very interesting. Very, very good point, bro. Like focusing on the things you don't want to motivate yourself to do the things you want or
Mm,
that you want to have in your life is, I think, a better approach.
for sure. And also, you can guarantee when that friend of yours gets to a freelancer and he spends a year there, he's going to be thinking, I'm missing out on something here. Like,
Mm.
how are all of these people earning 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100K a month?
That's crazy.
Like, crazy, huh?
Very, very interesting stuff, bro. Do you have
Mm.
anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like where you see yourself going, like, where do you feel that the biggest change is going to be needed with, yeah, like what is the biggest change that you feel you're going to need to make in order to step up to
Mm.
the next level that you want to go to?
Mm. I think the first thing that I have to do with myself is like find the way I want to take,
Mm,
because yes, I know I have a vision, yes, I know I have a goal,
mm,
but knowing where to go is one thing, knowing how to get there is like the other thing.
mm,
And in my case, it can work out if you just walk straight and see what happens, but it's way more efficient I believe, to just know at least if you want to go left or right, you just don't want to gamble this. So in my case, it's like, do I want to just close my eyes and see what comes, or do I want like this straight way that I know that
mm,
I'm gonna take the path? And for me, it's just like to find out how I'm gonna take this path. Do I want to take it in a type of way where I just go all in, or do I want to
mm,
take it in a way that I want to do it 50-50 or whatever?
mm. What if both of the paths led to the same place? And so
Mm.
by looking and analyzing which path to take actually didn't really mean too much, because by the time that you got to the end of one of them, you realized that they both led there anyway.
Anyway.
So all of that time kind of over analyzing and looking at, fuck, I don't know which one to take, you could have already just been walking down at least one.
Mm.
And at least maybe one of them might take you longer than the other. But look, you're like, what, 21, 22 you
22.
mentioned?
Yeah.
22, right? And like, it, yeah, there's an element where like you can't think because I'm young, I've got all the fucking time in the world. It's not the right way to think, but
Mm.
it also does mean that you can at least do something with the time that you have.
Got it.
You know, do you know what I mean?
100%.
So I guess going down that path is like, sounds to me like that's the next step for you then, right?
Yeah, I believe too.
Mm. Where do you see yourself this time next year?
Different place. I believe it's gonna be. Mm, tough question. It's not that tough because I could answer it immediately. But at the other hand, I'm like always holding back
Mm.
right now. So I don't know if it keeps on going like this. If things are so stagnating on my way or on my side, I think it's gonna be like the same place, unfortunately. So
Mm.
I know what it's that it's gonna lead me there, but if it's not gonna be there, like this, I think I see myself as going all in into my endeavors that I took on.
Mm, that's cool, bro. I mean, with that then, like when you hesitate, like what you say you hold back, like what is that?
I think it's the little puppy. It's coming again.
The little puppy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it's the
Mm,
maybe it's this, or maybe it's the circumstances that I'm in right now. All the
yeah. I know how that feels, man. And sometimes you just have to fucking shake the boat. Like for example, when I left my job in October, like I had like literally £1,000 to my name.
hmm,
Didn't even have a found a mentor. It's going to cost me 4k US. I had like 2k US or whatever that works out to, and I didn't know anything, bro. I put it on a payment plan, couldn't even afford the payments, and then February rolled around of 2024, and I hit my first five-figure month, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, fuck. Like all of that hard work and just that change of frequency and consistent like action, proving to myself that the beliefs that I'm holding are correct. That's what shook the boat up for me a little bit. That's what got me through these like stormy waters. Because if you genuinely see it and you like have this vision of your life is like you driving a boat or sailing a boat or however you want to phrase it through these seas, and you have these big 20-meter waves crashing and crashing and crashing, and your boat is like some tiny fucking wooden boat, you're going to get thrown around from fucking pillar to post. But you understand on the other side of that storm, there's like it's like the calm tropical sea. You got turtles swimming about,
hmm,
fish doing their thing, and you're there some snorkels on a yacht with your girl drinking a whiskey or doing whatever you want to do, right? But you understand, like, in order to actually get through the sea, you need to go through the storm
the storm.
without sounding too cliche, right? And
Hmm.
in order to get there, you sometimes first need to change the boat. You need to give it a bit more of a fucking reinforcement and just a bit more of like a
Understand?
all-in commitment and just take it through the waves. It doesn't matter if you see this big 100-meter wave. Sometimes you just got to think, well, you just got to firm it. And it's nowhere near as bad as you think. It's something interesting about human psychology is that we always over anticipate how shit something is going to be before we've even done it, right?
Hmm.
It's there's a really interesting course for free called The Science of Wellbeing by somebody called Dr. Laurie Santos,
Hmm.
a YouTuber that I used to watch called Hamza Ahmed, if you heard of him
Yeah.
before, like a improvement YouTuber.
Hmm.
When he was on like 200k subs or something, he recommended to do that, and I did it, and it taught me a lot. And so, if anybody's watching this out there, and for you as well, bro, like I even go through it again from time to time.
Doctor.
Just give it a watch. It's like it's for free. You can't really go
How's it
wrong.
called, brother?
The Science of Well-being,
Got it.
and so it's on Coursera, I think it's called, maybe
Hmm.
something like that. But it made me recognize a lot about like we always think things are so much worse than they're going to be.
Yeah.
That that end feeling of like the potentialness of fear is like it ruins everyone. And we spoke a lot about this when we first met, right? And like
Yeah,
how
man.
you can shift your perception and your relationship with fears and stuff. And yeah, I think without like just talking everyone to sleep, like that's pretty much like all of the insights I would like be able to come up with today
Hmm.
without making your ears bleed for the next hour. But
Nah, bro.
yeah, I've really enjoyed this, bro. I've
Absolutely. I'm
really
very
enjoyed.
thankful, bro, to having you here. Like it's from the beginning, from the get-go when I met you, I was like, I have to have this person on my podcast once. People have to just listen what you have to say. And I hope at least we get like some people listening to it and like some kind of motivation or just taking their first step.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I always start to recognize in myself as well before we end it is like language, right? Right there, right? You're like, I hope somebody finds this maybe like motivational. It's like for me, I think whoever listens to this and
Mm.
they listen to us speak about what we've been through, they're gonna fucking think, shit, I've got to do something now. They're going to come off the back of this and think, oh, okay, cool, like I've actually got to do something.
I understand.
For me, there's no hope. I don't rely on hope. It's like there isn't, there isn't. And so kind of like when we had our first conversation, if they're knowing that there is at least one person listening to this right now, there will be somebody who's hesitant to take a step. Kind of like if you jump off a cliff. Have you ever jumped off a cliff before,
Yeah.
like into water? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That when you look over the edge, it's fucking terrifying, right? And then when you jump, you think, oh, wasn't really even that bad.
You even want to do it again?
Yeah. However, if you don't jump and you just look over the edge, that jump does not get easier the longer that you look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, in my opinion, you see so many like people who are a little bit older, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, who are just so stuck in their ways because they've been looking over this edge for so long, but they never do it, never take the jump.
I think
So
this is a very, very. I think this is even the perfect ending for this episode, bro.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
nailed it with that.
We should do another one in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in South America from March,
No way.
so hopefully I'll have a better background than my room.
Yeah,
and my
you're
parents.
absolutely gonna have it, bro. There is. Thank you very
I
much
love,
for
like,
being here, bro. I swear.
bro, it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me on your podcast.
It's
And
always such a good talk, man. It's crazy.
yeah, it always is. And we got some big things ahead this year, bro. We're both
100%.
gonna crush this. And yeah, that's
Keep on
for
going.
anyone for anybody who hasn't subscribed to this podcast, make sure that you fucking do.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for
No.
listening. And yeah, I think this is the Honesty Podcast. So I think we were pretty honest with our stuff. Yeah, let me know if you want to hear anything else from us, like in some type of topics. Just comments. There are even comments on Spotify now or Instagram, and I'll
Wow.
have the links down below. So yeah, until next time, have a great week. I always say it in German. Crush the week, because I always do it on Sunday. So I wish you the best week and give it your all. And we hear us in the next episode of Honesty Podcast. I was Renor. This is Jack. Thank you very much. Goodbye,
Auf
everybody.
Wiedersehen.
Auf
Ciao.
Wiedersehen.